How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Long time no see. It's back again. Cheese Pizza. StarCraft 2v2s with a hint of bad manner. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, our hero, our everything, your caster, it is Savage Wood, the Benny Hill Zerg. His partner, both Worthless and Protoss, it's almost as though they mean the same thing. It is Out Now as Savage. Ooh, absolutely not. Elusive Smoke. Herpity derp derp. Our opponents playing Terran, Sub-Zero is GG, who henceforth will be referred to as Sub-Zero. And his Terran butt buddy, Seeding Chaos. So let's talk about this map, Avalanche, I believe it's called. It's a snow map, obviously, as you can see. And it's actually a good 2v2 map. As we take a look, you can actually expand. Even though this ramp is massive, you can secure it. You have one easy in-base expansion, which is important. But if you rally two armies out here, you can control every one of these expansions. And that's a big deal, because a lot of times in 2v2 maps, you'll just be absolutely fucked. Like, you can't expand, you can't do much of anything. So this map, very, very good, because you can play aggressive. There's a lot of one base contained you can do. You can put siege tanks down here. You can contain this very narrow ramp. But the most important thing is your strategies can vary. As we see normal gas timing from Spencer, Elusive Smoke, and a fast expand from me, who you sometimes will hear be referred to in the third person. It's kind of weird casting your own games with three other people, and an extra barracks coming out of Sub-Zero, so I expect some heavy Reaper play to come out of Sub-Zero. What else is going on? We see a barracks, kind of in an odd spot for Seeding Chaos, also Reapers. Although this is Reactor, so it might not be Reaper, it's hard to say. Another gas, so this could be Fast Banshee, we're not sure yet. And normal pool, everything's pretty standard up until now, guys. There's really not much to talk about. Love to see a mothership core immediately as soon as he gets 100 minerals, because in 2v2 you can deflect pretty much any cheese with just that nice little mothership core. Pretty much retard proofs it for our Protoss players, as though force field wasn't enough. And we do see the first Reaper coming out of Seeding Chaos. And as we look at the production tab, there are many more to follow. So a lot of early harass coming out from our red Terrans. One thing that is worth noting is in a lot of these cheese pizza games, it is named that because Spencer and I do tend to cheese a lot. That's kind of a central theme of these games. And the commentary is usually incredibly obnoxious. However, this series is getting kind of turned on its head because we're getting Reaper cheese at the moment. Nice Spore coming down, saving that drone. Queen coming out, and Queen here, so this Reaper shouldn't do... Okay, it does get a drone. This is what happens when you're not very good at the game and you have to deal with a lot of Reapers. One goes down there, nice mothership core movement. And I bet you anything I forget to cancel the Spore because I'm bad. And there it is. Well, I guess if he goes Banshee, that'll be nice. Lair coming out for Savage Wood is more Reapers platoon across the map. And this mothership core really needs to stay parked on this ledge as Savage Wood loses another drone. And this is the annoying thing about Reapers as Zerg. It takes forever to get speedling. And unless you make a lot of extra queens, the Reapers can just poke at your queens, run away, and then come back and beast you when they regenerate. Spencer really needs to chrono out a stalker here, but as usual, he has his thumb up his ass. What do you expect from Protoss? And, wow, the Reaper's actually adventurously jumping towards the Zealot there, losing one for really no reason, and back in Camp Zerg, a Queen goes down. This is what I'm talking about. When you make this many damn Reapers, it is so hard to deal with as Zerg. A ridiculous amount of Reapers being made. I think we're up to, what? 11 right now in total from our two Terrans, and we have an Expo going down. And this Queen is going to fall. So the Out Now boys, the cheesers becoming the cheesed. This is very odd. Huge advantage from our Terran players. Sure, they invested a lot in the Reaper play, but I mean, they've killed a shitload. They've basically crippled Savagewood, the Benny Hill Zerg. As we see, these Reapers are finally getting cleaned up, kind of, now that speed is up. This Queen being microed back relatively nicely. I mean, how nice can you call someone's micro and they forget to cancel their spore, am I right? So this Mothership Core finally coming over on this ledge to help. Oh god, to help. And double Immortals being produced from Spencer, who is expanding. That's nice to see, because you don't want to stick on you don't want to stick on one base for very long, obviously. One advantage of that Reaper play, sure, lots of good harass, but it also kind of served as a contain of sorts, because you're never going to be able to defend your expansion as Protoss against that many Reapers. So the Reapers are coming back in. They don't really expect to do that much damage, unless Spencer, you know, plays Protoss, so he doesn't actually have to have a reaction time. And goes ahead and boots up that Nexus cannon to finish off the Reapers. But our Terran players, if we look at their vision, they got a perfect scout. They know Spencer's going Robo Bay, so those Reapers definitely paying off in dividends. If that is even how you use that expression, I'm not quite sure, to be honest. Stem coming out for a Terran player as well as a factory, seeding chaos, focusing on this biocentric play, whereas Sub-Zero looking like he's opting for mech, which mech and bio, we don't even know if this is mech per se. I mean, 2 barracks, but the 2 factory does kind of indicate it's going to be mech-ish. It's definitely more biomech focus as opposed to our standard bio, which is what we see currently from our other Terran. And these Reapers gonna jump up. Hopefully they're gonna get cleaned up pretty soon. And the Lings keeping on the low ground to trap them if they run up. They do run back down and the Lings clean them up. No big deal, it's what you would expect. Expo from Sub-Zero being floated down to this normal mineral patch as opposed to the gold, which I'm sure will be taken at some point. And we have a nice little wall off here to protect against Ling run-bys. And a starport coming out. Everything really standard. Not much to talk about, honestly. One thing that is worth noting is it is pretty hard to creep spread in 2v2 if you have a Protoss or Terran ally. Because like you pretty much have to choose between cock blocking them. And on most maps. On this map and this spawns, it is not that bad, but it definitely does delay you a bit. So still absolutely standard. Combat shields coming out from seeding chaos. Now since there's nothing going on, I'll go back to talking about the map. A lot of times if this map goes into late game, the people that spawn bottom left will take these top bases that are kind of off on this island and then split the map down the middle here. And then obviously vice versa, the top right team will take these bottom bases. Am I observing? I'm rusty. This is what I was talking about earlier, this neutral choke. This is huge, but you siege a couple tanks up here, a couple bunkers, no biggie, you know, easy peasy. And we do see Mutalisk being produced from the Benny Hill Zerg Savagewood, but not a lot of money because of the early Reaper harass, so not many Mutas are going to be coming out immediately, and our Terran players are starting to take down the back rocks, so you know, after that early aggression from our Terrans, I'm going to go ahead and zero this out because it's getting obnoxious. After all that shenanigans coming out from our Terran players, we do actually see, wow, such macro and such creep spread, except it's not really all that great, it's just a bunch of tumors in one spot. And our Terrans try to expand here, but there's creep. As Zerg, this is something you should always strive for. This is so annoying, guys. If you play Zerg, you need to do this. Get those overlords spewing creep on the bases. It'll really screw over your Terran friends. Few mutas coming in. Just 4. Not that big of a deal, but when you have absolutely no anti-air, it's a pain in the ass for sure. He doesn't want to lose these tanks, though, and the Vikings fend them off. Now, the Vikings serve 2 purposes. Obviously, they scouted that Robo, so he can kind of make a lot of Vikings and deal with both the Mutas and the Colossi, which is weird because, you know, in normal ZVT, you have to make Marines because the Vikings just aren't mobile enough. And, you know, obviously, you have to do with the ground army. So, interesting dichotomy you see between 2v2 and 1v1. Being able to focus on Vikings. Huge doom drop coming out for a Terran player. And it does get spotted here. As we see, the mutas are going to come in, see that the drop unloads. And what Spencer needs to do is have a ton of defense right here. Because if he screws around and has his army off in the dick farm, then he's just going to get absolutely decimated by this drop. This is kind of how ZVT works. If the Terran is aggressive enough and can keep the Zerg pinned back in his base, then it favors the Terran. But if the Zerg can get up in the face of the Zerg as that base is destroyed, then it's very, very good for the Terran, and because the mutas are forced to be used defensively. So, more Colossi being made. And like I pointed out earlier, a little bit more of a mech focus for Sub-Zero. And he's loaded back, Seeding Chaos rather, is loaded back up into these medevacs. Looks like he wants to do a drop. Spencer's army is just like in an irrelevant, terrible location. And the drop is going to get completely down. The Lings are here. God knows where the mutas are. Terran units stemming in. They're going to do tons of damage here. Nexus Cannon needs to be used immediately, and it is, but it's not going to be enough. The Templar Archives is going to be lost, which is a huge deal. And the Twilight, which researching Blink, is going to be canceled. And is he going to lose the Robo too? And a Colossus pops out right at the right moment, and this drop will get cleaned up. But the Twilight cancel, and the Templar Archives taken out. So Spencer is incredibly behind tech-wise, despite being on 3 bases. He's pretty much restricted to Colossi here, which, as I pointed out, are going to be decimated by the large number of Vikings. So this Terran push is getting rather scary. And a lot of bio, a lot of SCVs. Basically, our Terrans have been macroing their little hearts out. And they're going to pressure forward here. I'm going to close the tab. Bio army being surrounded by Lings. Lings pushing forward. The tanks are unsieged. Banes into Marauders mostly, but when that's most of your army, hell, what are you going to do? And the Terran army, most of the Marines being cleaned up, but with this many Vikings, it doesn't really matter. Such an odd composition from our Terran, very abnormal. It's deceptively good against mutas with all the Vikings, and the muta count, quite frankly, isn't even that high. It's at a mere 12, which is about the minimum of what you need. The Protoss army finally here, but he's going to be greeted by Vikings, and with such little ground forces, these Vikings are going to have a hell of a time. And the mutas are coming forward, trying to fend off the Vikings. These tanks really need to be sieged forward, and this Thor is incredibly difficult to deal with unless it gets caught out by the Immortals, which it was. Now our out now boys look like they could take this one right here as they're pressuring forward. They don't really know what the enemy has. Savagewood gonna press forward here. He doesn't have enough mutas to sit on top of production like he wants to, and he overextends with the mutas. Not very good there. He really needed help, as Spencer was killing this base, or canceling the base rather. And the Out and I boys pressing forward, but I don't think they're gonna be able to end the game. These Blue Flame Hellbats are just so damn cost effective against the Zerg force. And Spencer didn't kill this base, but he forced a lift. Looks like he's going to kill this one, though. So definitely a victory as far as that battle goes for the Out Now boys. But not the win that they were looking for, as this gold base is heavily oversaturated. Obviously because he pulled his SCVs back. So Elusive Smoke definitely needs to get that Templar Archives as we back up. If we pull back, he has his Twilight, doesn't have the Templar Archives out, so this could be a problem because obviously our Terrans are focusing on Vikings quite a bit because they do well against both the mutas and the Colossus. Pretty much everything coming out of our Zerg, Out Now, Savagewood, Greater Spire, Ultra Cavern, excuse me. So I would say our Zerg hero right now is kind of vulnerable. He's looking to transition, making infestors. You know, can't really afford 3/3 yet. He's just able to get the melee. And he's going into Swarm Host as he's seen the mech focus. After seeing so many Thors and tanks, you really don't want to stick on Mutaling Bling because, I mean, the Thors rape the Mutas and the tanks rape the Banes. So, kind of going into a Swarm Host play, but he's not really making a lot. It looks like he just wants to make enough to kind of gain map control and then go from there. We're not going to see that obnoxious Stefano style where he like maxes out. One of our Terrans is maxed here, and the other Terran is far from it. The one that took base damage is not even close. And we see 2 more bases coming up here from Savage Wood. And our Terrans are just kind of sitting in the middle of the map saying, "Hey, we're gonna make you nervous. Like we're not gonna let you drone and get map control up. We're just gonna sit here, kind of sit on your chest and punch you in the face type thing." Swarm Host being burrowed, I don't think they're going to do very much damage. They're going to detonate the mines, and the Swarm Host, every Zerg knows that feeling of a bad Swarm Host rally. Spencer looks like he wants to engage, but doesn't have his mothership core out here. And the Terran bio stems forward, and doesn't really get much done. More Locust coming forward. You never want to trade your bio with Locust, but with tank sieged up here, I don't ever think it's going to happen if our Terrans micro correctly. And if we pull up the units tab, Spencer's mothership core is off in the dick farm. That recall could be incredibly important. So could the time warp. And these mines could friendly fire possibly, but the Swarm Hosts aren't even going to make it to the army. And we see our mutas that have been remade are doing a little bit of light harass in the main, which is nice. Most our Terran players have somewhat of an immobile army and are electing to play as such. So the Vikings come in, and are we going to see a fight with the Vikings being pulled away? I don't think so. But with good ups, the Vikings will do a pretty good damn job of holding off the Mutalisk. More Swarm Hosts coming forward. And the Out Now boys are kind of posturing as this base is about to get completely wrecked. Spencer, no amount of defense could really save that. Not that he had any at all. Swarm Host going forward, killing Hellbats. I mean, free units for almost free units. So, bases being mined perfectly for our Terran players. And this middle of the map kind of conflict, I think, is about to get heated. It's hard to tell. So many tanks being sieged. The Terran players know they have the advantage in this situation. And another big doom drop. Spencer really needs to warp in some Dark Templar here. That'll really shut down this drop. But with Spencer's army being out in the middle of the map, now finally being brought back, I mean, he cleans up the drop, but takes pretty severe damage. And, yep, this is not good. The Out Now boys are being picked apart right now. The superior army is in the hands of the Terran, both in mobility and strength. Spencer really needs Templar tech. I mean, the Colossus aren't going to cut it. And the Terran army stems. Savage Wood barely moving his units in time. And our Terran players are constricting out, with the exception of these bases. The Out Now boys. These Swarm Hosts need to be burrowed. There needs to be pressure. But quite frankly, with this many damn siege tanks, it does not really matter. And all these Widow Mines, our Terrans know that you can't, you can kind of go around, but it can be brought back so easily that they're going to be able to make the superior army. Double Terran is going to beat out Zerg. Spencer with some nice warp ins, not bad at all. Swarm Host being lost there, that's pretty sloppy. But Spencer doesn't even look like he's going to kill the bases. He's just going to delay them. So this is what the Out Now boys do not want. This siege. These are going to become PFs. These are going to become turrets. I would not be surprised if they just said fuck it and went in. Broodlords finally, but you know, this Viking count going to be really good against Broodlords, obviously, but you have to have something to break the siege. And once these Broodlords push forward, I'm pretty sure we're going to have a fight. Spencer with some nice harass in the main, but a well-placed tank is going to deny that. Here we go, the fight we've been waiting for. Lots of tanks and mines for our Terrans as we go in. Big fungal on top of the tanks. Broodlords pressing forward. Most of the Vikings being taken. Oh no, wait. There's the Vikings. Not near enough anti-air, as I incorrectly called that earlier. Lots of Broodlords and Colossus. Sure, that's a scary army, but not against about a dozen Vikings. And the Terran army is dead, but these Vikings, man, they're going to go crazy. Spencer needs to warp in about 50 stalkers. And as I'm talking like a moron, there's a huge drop in the main. Robo Bay being taken out. And Spencer, I don't know, like these gates are operational. I don't know what the hell he's waiting for. Warping in. There he goes, finally. Stalkers, I don't know why. DT would have been a way better choice, but he can't really do anything against this. Meanwhile, these Immortals are being pushed into the base of our Terran players. And granted, our Terrans can't really... They're going to be able to barely hold off this push, it looks like, but more severe damage being dealt to our Protoss brethren, as he can't really, with his Robo being dead, he can't really warp in the proper units. There's a lot of Queens being brought from Savagewood. The Benny Hill Zerg Transfuse need to go down. There's an okay one. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's not much to say here. Terran Bio is just going to absolutely rip through the slow, immobile Zerg army. And in the main, we see those Immortals. They're doing okay things. They weren't really... They were kind of distracted because of the drop. But this base down here is paying dividends. And this base is about to be, I would imagine. This Immortal, you know, it did okay things. But, I mean, look at... Spencer lost his Robo Bay, his main Nexus. Not that matters anymore. And our Zerg friend is maxed out. If we hit the units tab, hit it, Nintendude, we see Corruptors because of all the Vikings and some GG Lords. But as all Zerg players know, the Corruptor is a joke and it is a farce. It's not a good unit. So yeah, you have Corruptors, but who gives a shit? It's garbage. And we have a very strong Zerg army, but an immobile one. And the very valuable bases for a Zerg friend looks like it will be contested. Queen Ultra, very strong. Would love to see some Transfuzzles come down. There's two, and this push will be thwarted. We'll hold that thought. Lots of mines coming down. So many mines, don't clump. No, God. Oh, the Queens. Queens which take forever to reproduce, and the awful Corruptor just being decimated. Sloppy control coming out from Savagewood, but this late game army is somewhat difficult to execute. You know, you morph your Broodlords, then you know your Broodlords are in the wrong control group. It's a nightmare, and we might see an Infestor. We might see something a Destiny fan would cringe at seeing. So many Infestors dying. And these Swarm Hosts, that was a good idea, but they were never really properly rallied, and the Queens get massacred. Absolutely disgusting. These Queens, surprisingly, are very good late game units because of Transfuse. And these Swarm Hosts, which were a good idea in theory, are not really going to do much. Never really executed because of the distraction up here. And those vicious Widow Mines are going to get cleaned up. Our Protoss friend is pretty much mined out. He's effectively mining from one base, and there's not really another one to go to. He's going to try to be annoying here with Stalkers, but, I mean, running kind of low on money. Savagewood is the only one mining. It's going to be up to him to clutch this game. I think Spencer needs to do his absolute best to make these Stalkers count, because if he just throws them in a final army, he might blink up to this high ground. There he goes. This is exactly what Spencer needed to do. He needed to make these Stalkers as annoying as all hell as his main gets dropped again. That's going to be a pain. And we have a battle in the middle as Spencer's in the main, picking off tech and infrastructure. There's too much going on to see here. Infestors trying to fungal but getting decimated. And the Broodlords, there's only one left because of Vikings, and Spencer's losing his whole damn main, putting up a shitload of cannons here, but didn't exactly expect to be dropped from back here, Kappa. And he's being really annoying in the main here. This is brilliant, good play, but this is not good. Our Zerg friend, Savagewood, who is the only really remaining hope for the Out Now boys, is, oh no, not the Hive. He's losing all of his tech to this Terran push, and his army is slow as hell and can't really do anything. You know, it's just meant to win one straight up engagement, and not move around the map and kill stuff like the traditional Mutiling Baneling force. And our Terran player here has done an incredible job, and lots of queens here. Oh no. Those queens take forever to build. Even though they're not that expensive, you do not want to lose them. Spencer, look at all these add-ons being remade because of Spencer's annoyingness. And Ultra's chasing, but I mean, they'll get a little bit because of a micro mistake, but I mean, these medevacs are going to be able to boost around. There's no Mutalist. The Corruptors aren't there. So they're just going to be able to douche around all they want and just roam around because of the Ultras are so immobile. And SCV even, you know, he's along for the ride. Spencer once again being annoying, picking off add-ons. But finally, here come the Corruptors. But like I said, they're slow. The two money buildings don't want to be taken out. And great fungal coming down there. Couldn't really fuck that one up. And the drop is taken out, but it is hashtag worth as we see Spencer rallying some zealots up here. This is good. He had a pylon for right here for God knows how long. And this observer, he's a hero. And that being lifted finally. But Spencer took out a lot of SCVs. Looks like he's going to lose these to Marauders if all is well and kited. And sure enough, it is. Does he have charge? I'm not sure. His Twilight got taken out, I think. Yeah. And charge might have been on cooldown. This is really annoying. If you play Terran and more add-ons and buildings being taken out, this is exactly what Spencer needed to do. He knows, yeah, I'm out of the game. I can't, like, all my tech's gone. I can't really mine. So I'm going to take the units that I have and I'm going to be an annoying little cocksucker with them. So Spencer buying Savagewood time to get his big, immobile, slow army in position to fight. I mean, we just see an absolutely monstrosity of a force coming out from our Terran players. Like I was saying earlier, if you play Terran and you want to be annoying, just leave mines, like where you know your opponent's going to rally, because it's going to be so hard to find. And big battle coming as tanks being sieged. Infestors can't really do anything. They come up to fungal, but they're being decimated. Ultras being absolutely annihilated as we see the whole army being glooped in fungal. But when you go pure Marauder tank, I mean, Ultras just get annihilated. And even though the Zerg army was intimidating, this is what happens when you have to fight 2v1. Sure, Spencer's done a great job of harass, but I mean, he doesn't really have the money units that he needs to combat this combo force of biomech. And as I pause to muse and take a drink, the brilliant Terran force is going to head up to the bases, and these hero stalkers, they're going to try to help, but this might be their final stand. This might be their Alamo. Remember the Alamo. Couple spines up here. 3-3 bio, and then the guy who doesn't have 3-3 is the guy meching. And 2-2 mech is just going to absolutely destroy through spine crawlers. Queen's trying to be transfuzzled, but it doesn't really matter. Drones being shredded apart in what is the last bastion of the Out Now boys. And once again, any units that are going to be able to be made, like 12 Ultras in production, that's cute as hell, but if we're being honest here, Ultras take 55 seconds to make, guys. They're a long ways off, and hopefully this base can be saved, but right now it's not looking good for the Out Now boys, is the one position that they need to hold is being sieged and destroyed. And Savagewood is only mining off of one base and is pretty much out of money, and we see the Ultras finally do pop. And they will be able to clean this up, but I mean, you're going to see the tanks die here. Look how powerful that is, wow. No, not even any support. And they're going to clean up about 4 ultras just with siege tanks. And a lot of marauders here too. The thing about ultras is, yeah, they kick ass, but if they don't have support, then they're pretty much garbage. Like, they need the lings to trap them from behind. You can't leave Destiny style. They need the infestors to really provide that lockdown. But you know what? Pure Ultra can just be kited infinitely by marauders. And our Terran players are finally cleaning up some of this creep. And they're mining here. They're not really mining here, but the base is there. There we go, production. And we do see some infestors coming out from our Zerg friend. And Seeding Chaos looks like he's going to try his infamous Doom Drop as a subpar fungal goes down there. Better one there, but our Zerg player is basically just being pushed back into his base and prevented from doing much. Looks like he's going to try to press forward here, but I mean, these units are very valuable for both people. Everyone jokes about how inexpensive Terran units are, but I mean, guys, the map is almost mined out. Like, if we look here, mined out. Here, still there. Here, mined out. Here, the base is almost mined out and dead. So this next engagement could determine the game. We need some 6 city fungals. Spencer, bring his probes. He knows we're in dire straits. Here comes the battle. Very marauder heavy. That's bad for the Zerg. Coming forward. No key fungals have landed yet. The tanks ripping the ultras apart. Corruptors doing their job, but shit, there's not much left to do. All the ultras are pretty much dead as the queens were too immobile to mass transfuse. Infested Terran being thrown out here. We need to see a burrow. But the Terrans have scans, and you know, back when the Infestor got nerfed way long ago, the Infested Terran got gutted horrendously. So these are like 0-0 P shooters. And most of the Infestors will die, as we see a lot of idle Corruptors here. I want to see those move down and mate into Broodlords is really what I want to see, but our Zerg friend is so poor he can really only afford 4. And our Terrans are broke as a joke, a cute joke, and have stemmed the shit out of their army and have no medevacs because of the silly amount of Corruptors. And if this base can be lifted, it won't be able to be landed because of the creep. And finally, if we pull up the production tab, we see only 1 Winfester left. And honestly, this might turn into a base trade, guys. But have you ever base traded with Broodlords? Yeah, exactly. You can't really. So if we pull back production, we see 5 Broodlords, the last hope for our Zerg friend and our hero, the Out Now clan. Queen's being absolutely gutted. And the Terrans kind of oddly not really pushing their advantage. These freaking mines, dude. So annoying. And they're kind of just they don't really have enough to push forward because as far as they know, Infestors could be here. Boom, fungal, you done. But I would like to see them be more aggressive here because they're just kind of sitting on creep, lacking scans, which obviously they already used most of their scans, but they're just kind of letting our Zerg players set up. And Spencer asking, do y'all give up? Because it's almost as though he's not sure what to do. And we're the only ones mining. Well, that's true, but here come the Broodlords, and he doesn't really have anti-air as he was so hell-bent on getting rid of those ultraless armies. Everything on the ground right now is anti-freaking ground, dude. And he is like Marauder Hellbat tank. And that's like an unbeatable composition on the ground. But you know what? When you have the GG Lords, as Sensor says, free units, they're pretty good. And this looks very good for our Out Now boys, as there are so many Corruptors. Even though Vikings are being produced, basically what's going to happen is something like some sort of splash, like a Raven or Marine or Mass Marine, not even Mass Marine, but maybe a Raven or a Thor shot is going to have to destroy the Corruptors, or they're going to have to get enough Vikings out in time, which, considering he's mining, I guess is theoretically possible. And the Vikings are 2-2. But with Broodlords and this many Corruptors, it's going to be hard for our Terran opponents to do jack. And their last mining base is finally dealt with. And yes, this is perfect. That is a big deal. So the Vikings being thrown away, that is not good. Spencer knows he's worthless, has lost pretty much everything. Yeah, he's at 2 supply. So all he can do is talk at this point. And that base is empty. But our out now boys know that these are really the only 2 bases that theoretically should be left, so they don't want to let them mine. So 2 more Vikings being produced. That's what we want to focus on. Lots of Vikings in production. Now, because he threw away the 2 Vikings earlier, I really don't think he's going to be able to get enough Vikings up. Now with this army, I guess anything could happen, theoretically, any given Sunday kind of thing, but I mean, these queens are going to be clutch too because of the transfuse, but going to need to see some good micro from the out now boys, maybe some big sloppy fungals. Warp Prism being used to spot, nice job. Here we go. SCV's being used to tank. Here come the Vikings. We're going to click on the Broodlords because they're what matter. The Vikings warding off, or the Corruptors warding off the Vikings. And the Infestors fungling the Vikings. Clutch fungals there even though they only caught 2 units. And all the Broodlords are surviving. We're going to see some mass transfuse coming down here. Actually not so much. That was a bit odd. And the tanks, let's see, they know they can't shoot up. And well, guys, the game is pretty much done at this point. It's just a matter of barring me dying at the keyboard, and considering this is a replay, I don't think that's very likely. You know, in long games like this, a lot of times you just have to come to terms with what happened. 51 minutes, epic macro game. They're probably sitting there looking at their base, have that sinking feeling like, shit, I thought he was going to make more ultras. So, incredible game. Fun to cast, voice cracks and all. The GG Lords being used after several ultra switches. Pretty much a 2v1. Spencer had some great harass, but as far as money units were concerned, he was pretty much an absentee for the majority of this game. And Spencer's kind of asking, like, guys, you know, might be time to leave, unless you're hiding something. And our Terran brethren tap out. What a game. If you enjoyed it, rate, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. I'm out, guys.